Hello, this is Lisa Russick and Misty Laura with the podcast We're All Psychic. And today we have a rad guest, and I'm so excited about it. Her name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, I'd love to say hello. So hello.
Hello.
And I greet people as sacred spheres. So I usually start my podcast with hello, sacred spheres.
I love that.
Just that I see us all as this, like divine radiance. And so, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
I want to talk about that. But first, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think we're all psychic?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
And what made you get there? Where'd you get that answer?
Well, off and on through life, there's been periods of time where something would happen where I'd pick up on knowing and then have it turn out to be true. But I also could carry a lot of doubt. And
yes,
in life, a lot of doubt most of my life. And then somewhere around 40-ish, after about 40 trips around the planet or around the sun, I started to really connect with the sun, actually. And a lot of phenomena was starting to happen in my life and felt really called towards more of my true path in life, what felt that way. And that included meeting somebody who was very different, and I didn't understand exactly why. And it was like, who is this person? This person would pop into my mind a lot, whatever. And then there was, after knowing this person for, I don't know, a year or something, I suddenly started to realize I could feel their presence in the room around me. And I could even feel like they're touching my skin or communicating to me and just exuding love. And so kind of freaked me out a little, but also was just, it felt so good. And I knew that there was some telepathy happening. Yeah. And I hadn't experienced this before. It was pretty profound. And I kind of after that experience just lasted a few moments and then kind of vanished. And I, had to do something else. I was like, what is that? And then it's kind of like, okay, it's easy to go back into my doubt, but that was so profoundly real. And then the next time I saw this person, I was like, I didn't want to say anything because I thought, well, how do I approach this?
They experience I didn't know what you're say. Sure of it, but you're doubting. Yeah. So I was kind of like,
yeah. So after a conversation, I was saying goodbye and they came up to me and was like, I wanted you to know that I was present with you too. I know I was there. That was my personal confirmation. So then I'm like, okay, so I was feeling this and I was thinking you were telling me this and I could feel all this love. And it was like, yes, I care for you. And I go deep into my meditation. And then sometimes I just find myself there with you and, want to interact.
So cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a love.
So I think we're psychic.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that just happened to you and you didn't believe in telepathy then or think it was a thing?
Yeah, well, I had a lot of doubt. I couldn't quite figure out what to do with it. Yeah, I'd had visions and stuff from the time I was little that, I couldn't confirm. So then I think, was it imagination? And some of them were just really inspiring and profound. And I wanted to reconnect with that, that experience with those people and like, where do I find them? But where do I do? I had no concept of other dimensions or space time or anything. So I eventually just shut it down and just doubted and thought, and you get to be like in your teens and all your energy's just kind of like settling into, your sexuality and your survival and all of that.
Personality.
My interest changed. Yeah, it's just totally personality. And I just chalked all that childhood experience up as fantasy. That's what they call fantasy. So it isn't real. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Set it aside. And then you did too. I wonder how many people, and then
really all of them. Yeah.
How about all of us? Yeah.
So listeners and watchers, by the way, this is a video podcast on Spotify. I forgot to mention it at the beginning. So now you can go by and start over. Or you can look at it. We're going to talk about sacred geometry. And I am so excited to hear it. She does a podcast, and this is what she talks about on her podcast. So I asked her if she would give an introduction to this topic to all you guys. And Misty, so how would you introduce this topic to someone who's never heard of it, doesn't even know what it is?
What I would say is that everything in creation, everything that we experience in the physical world and some of the subtle energy experience has a structure the way our bodies have a structure with the bones, and our houses have a frame before the, sheetrock's put on and all of that, however you build. And that it's in the subtle realm where we don't yet have the scientific equipment to measure it, but that sacred geometry is essentially the underlying patterns of everything in nature. And it's like the architecture of the cosmos. And it explains it, because when you distill everything down to the simplest of patterns, you end up with sacred geometry. And then what kind of fractals out from those basic patterns are overlays, patterns that overlay patterns. And I teach this. So I help people understand it experientially. I want to give people experience. I think it's great. We get a lot from sharing with each other and studying things. And then when you really immerse into it and you actually do it for yourself, you get more ahas. And I think it sparks different things in our brains and our consciousness.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a practice. It's a way of seeing the world. It's a way of opening up to more in the world, a way of enhancing your psychic abilities in a way, because you can tune into more of that part of the brain, the third eye, the intuitive centers in this, machine we have between the ears.
Pull it out. Don't need it.
I know. Yeah, I mean, not that, we get the mind chatter and the thinking mind.
Let's say that stuff out. Unless it works out something somewhere. Sometimes it just
quiet that down. Yeah. Yeah. And my understanding is like the intuitive process just uses what's already out there in frequency and vibration and consciousness, and just funnels it in certain ways so that we can perceive, so that we got a different understanding. Yeah.
I love crystals and rocks, and I had about 4 of them, sacred geometry crystal sets. And they would come with like a Merkaba, a square, a sphere, a cube. What else? A triangle or a pyramid, or it wasn't really a pyramid. It was a 3-sided.
An octahedron and a tetrahedron.
Yes. And I loved it. I still have them all scattered around. So eventually they got separated. But like, I don't know. I never understood what those symbolized in those kits, with all those specific shapes picked for those kits were symbolizing. But I loved
those. Yeah, that is sacred geometry. That's the core of sacred geometry, 3-dimensionally. Okay. And so when you draw, you're drawing 2-dimensionally, right? And that's called sacred. And the term sacred geometry has been, passed down through time, because, the Greeks were doing it and they kind of coined the phrase. And it goes way back beyond that. I hear people talking about it in the time of Atlantis. And, there's the planic solids that you're talking about in the 3D were found in the Indus River Valley at least 3,000 years ago. And I'm sure it goes way beyond that, because we have, sacred temples and structures around the world that are older.
And they're both a certain way.
With such precision and everything. And there's methods of, utilizing sacred geometry that kind of help you understand how they could have laid that out. But then there's more mystery that we're still exploring.
Oh, there's always mystery. That's the most exciting part.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That blows my mind already.
It does.
I know.
Can you give us an example of like how, when you're teaching it, what do you teach to show? What do you teach? How do you teach people to like find this in their world?
Yeah, good question. Well, when we're drawing it, then you're visually seeing a pattern. So for example, I should have brought it over here. The flower of life, or what I do have.
Oh, I do have one. I could run and get it. Just give me a minute. I can cut.
Well, that's okay.
I can cut this out.
I've
Okay.
got some sacred geometry
there you
right
go. Okay.
here.
Yes.
And I had my drum next to me, so I'll show you that because I've got sacred
Oh, that's so
geometry on the
cool.
drum. Yeah, and in the center I've got this triad.
That's like a
camera's off.
fractal with a triangle and it looks like a DNA strand up ribbon.
Spiral.
Spiral, yeah.
Yeah. And so the two, like, it's like the moon and the sun, the two circles overlapping, an almond shape called the Vesica Pisces. And then you can see the square in here. Wait.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
My fingers don't visually with the camera. I'm going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
That square that's on its corner, more like a diamond shape inside the curved Vesica Pisces. That curved Vesica Pisces here.
I see that.
Is considered like the birth portal of all form. Okay. So when I do that and I show people like some of the most basic forms, like a square, is a cube. And then, look at table salt. It's little cubes, or, look at, there's, fool's gold. I forget what that's called. There's a lot of crystal or
pyrite.
minerals.
Yeah. Pyrite cubes. I love those. Those are so cool.
Yeah, in a cube. And then, of course, we see like hexagons around a quartz crystal. And, so I just pull out all kinds of examples from nature so that people start to see it. But you could also see that patterns start emerging on top of patterns.
Yes, that's what I saw, right? Like it started all like different things I see. Whoa.
So that's what we do. It's like we start with a simple underlying pattern and then sometimes bring other patterns out on top, like drawing the foundational squares and circles to then get this golden mean spiral that's on there in blue.
What is the orange, like the ribbon like thing? It reminds me of a DNA.
Oh yeah. So DNA, exactly. And the center circle that's like around this square, it's just like subtly.
I see it, yeah.
You see that circle there, that orangey circle?
Yes.
And that's echoed in, so there's underlying construction lines that you don't see here, like where this would circle back around, because I didn't want to transfer that. So that's the underlying pattern is the rest of this circle, right? And they're just all echoing, repeating each other and creating that kind of DNA motif. And this was all, what's that?
Did you paint that drum?
Yeah.
That's really
made the
good.
drum. I painted it. I did a ceremony with an amazing woman who's also very psychic. And yeah, it was a really deep, beautiful, week-long process. I sat in a sweat lodge halfway through the week and asked for a vision of what to put on the drum. And I got those parts. Like I would see it in pieces. Like, I'm going to put the DNA on there. I'm going to put the Vesica Pisces with the I'm going to put the golden mean spiral. But then how it all came together was kind of just me just getting creative.
Being God.
Just saying,
with the drum. Like it's how the artist is. They're the God of their creation. It's like you get to
that's what art is.
To use God's tools to make an example of his tools. Or a God's tools, or a creator, if there is one. I don't know. I think there might be.
Well, that's such a good question.
Kind of a design. If there's a design, it's an intelligent design, it seems like, is what sacred geometry is about. Is that
exactly? I love quantum physics because it talks about the necessity of an observer in order to make it work.
Yes.
What they're measuring in science. So, that observer is an essential, and who is that observer, right?
Yeah. It's every one of us.
So it leads to exactly. So, it's like how much I've explored in my life. Like how much do we create? And sacred geometry to me is a part of that because my understanding of what we can do with our focused intention is really powerful. And not that we, control everything from a personality level, from the, the limited self that only knows this physical realm, but that, I think that we have intention to align with something greater than ourselves that, if we intend for it to be benevolent and we hold that, then that's what we get. If we want to journey the other way, then that's what we got.
Hi, Mr. Satan.
Right.
Hi, Hades.
That's where you focus. That's what you get.
What's interesting about geometry? I've never been very good at geometry. I was good at math, but not geometry. Like there's a lot of different math systems, and the thing about but when I think about geometry, it's like you don't have to have numbers. You really don't. So you don't have to have a 1 to 0 to 9 number system, or was it one? You know what I'm saying? You could have. I've read about like base 8, number systems based around like every 8 numbers or something like that. Listeners, like if you haven't heard of that. So the sacred geometry, you don't really need numerals. You just need the angles and the stuff like that. And no math system. I mean, every math system will fit this geometry.
You bring up such a good point. And to me, it is the highest language of the mind. It is the pure form itself. And math is attempting to describe it.
Yeah.
So even like if you were in math class and you learned about sine waves and you had to graph things and chart things, and you do this curve that does this sine wave and it has a cyclical pattern and all of that. And in math class, we were learning equations that describe that form itself, but that form itself is the pure thing.
Yes.
And so when we draw with a compass and a straight edge, this is the traditional way they always did in the Misty schools.
I learned that way.
Far back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just turning that compass and drawing the lines connected.
Rainbows. I made rainbows with my little half thing. I can't remember.
Oh.
Little thing that's like
rainbows. Perfect for rainbows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, just the imagination. You can run wild with what you can create.
And those little tools.
Those simple tools.
Yeah.
Like one of the most easiest process is to divide a line and to create a 90-degree angle, which is 2 circles. So back to this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you draw these 2 circles here and here, and then you divide the sorry, I'm not pointing.
Oh, it's right in half. I see it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So if I do this, I can. So 2 circles here, and there's the Vesica Pisces, and these intersection points. If you just draw a line there, you have a radius line right here in gold.
Okay.
You've just divided it exactly in half. That's how I found the center point there. To start the spiral.
You did it all mathematically with your
mathematically without any measurements, without like measuring inches or centimeters, no rulers, no math division. Those numbers, they're describing this. So like what we're doing now, I feel like, we're using words to describe all these things. And if we were to get quiet and get psychic with each other, then we would be, flashing images and sounds and vibrations with each other in different proportions, right? And then we pick up on it.
We could. I don't know. How long does that take?
Yeah.
We could do it. Misty, are you wanting to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Try telepathically judge. She's always down.
I'm just enjoying this conversation.
I am too. Instruct us. We will try it.
I love it. Okay. Here's what we can do. And this is fun for anyone to do. Let me see how I want to do this. I have an object over there on my table, and you can take a moment and I'm going to hold the object in my mind's eye right now. I'm going to do the best I can to envision it and nothing else, just that object. And you can tune in, put your intention on seeing that object. Notice anything that comes to you, if it's a shape or multiple shapes.
Yeah, I'm seeing a triangle. It looks like a metronome. I don't know.
I'm seeing round.
You're seeing round?
Yeah.
And if you see colors or you
copper,
see white,
sounds
and brown. I see white and brown.
I see copper.
Cool.
I can't get that metronome out of my head. That's why I don't know if it's that or not. And
I love that. Music and everything. I'll give you another minute.
Now I'm seeing hearts.
I love that you see that.
And now I see the Aries sign. I don't know why. The symbol Aries in astrology. She's an Aries. Well, you've seen her.
All right.
Now I see a little owl with a hat and a pipe. I don't think that's it. Just a little owl with a hat and a pipe. Maybe it's a Christmas.
I love that.
What do you see, Misty? What do you see?
A penny copper, like a penny color.
I love that. Okay, I'm gonna very quickly show you. Here, I'm right here with you.
She's making us like eye wrappers. She put her video off.
I know.
Listeners, if you're just listening, she put her video off, so she's going to surprise us with it. So,
yes,
anticipation's killing me.
I know.
Misty and I are singing. Wait.
Okay.
Oh, you got it, Misty. Look at that, Misty. You got that. Yeah, that's the flower of life, right?
It is the flower of life.
Misty.
And it's kind of goldish, but in the, with the different coloring, the copper. And you were talking about the brown and the white, which to me makes gold.
Yeah.
When you mix the two, it does make gold. Yeah.
So cool.
And
I saw triangles mainly, and there are triangles in it.
They're definitely like in the intersection points, or, if you follow, some of the line work, if you see these as lines.
That's crazy.
Misty, you had that. Did you not have that? It was like a penny, copper. Yeah, that was really
I know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I totally read your mind. That's crazy.
You did, Misty. Read her mind.
Yeah.
That is really freaking amazing. Thank you.
Yes, that is so cool.
She's kind of like, ooh.
It's a fun practice.
She reads minds, but she doesn't. She gets surprised every time.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it works best if you're not totally expecting it, or you're not trying to figure out ahead of time what you're going to expect, and then just let it be.
Yeah,
really cool.
That come to you. Oh, you've got a friend behind you.
Always.
Frank.
Yeah.
Look how he loves her. He just adores her. Is
My
there any way that animals equate into sacred geometry in some way? Or animals. I have a cat.
I think they tune in on this level a lot easier, and they see different frequencies. Sacred geometry is also like like frozen music.
Okay,
if that makes sense. I like to say frozen music because, there's this whole study called cymatics, and cymatics is it's been around for a little while, but different. It started with this guy named Ernst Chladni, and then Hans Jenny picked up his work. But you just take like a circular plate or a square plate, and on a stand, and randomly sprinkle sand on it, and then strike the edge of it with a violin bow, so it would vibrate, and that vibration would organize. They would jump around. All the sand would jump around and organize into these beautiful geometric patterns that were like radially symmetrical. So in other words, from the radius point going out, radial symmetry essentially means like a mandala. A mandala has a center point, and then it's the same all the way around, pretty much. Yeah, there's always variation, like in life.
And the grains actually kind of formed a pattern just from random bump. That's great. That's really great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Yeah.
Why does that happen? Is it physics, or is it in physics is part of sacred geometry? So
there's physics, and then there's frequency. So that like sacred geometry being like frozen frequency. I say music because I love music, and it's like you can see it in certain tones, frequency. So if you have like a tone generator and you're just raising up the vibration in a kind of like not to hit specific notes like I would on my piano back there.
Like my guitar, I just slide it or something.
Yeah, if you slide it, you get areas between the specific notes that will randomize the sand again, and then you hit that next note, whatever frequency creates coherence again. it just like goes from random back into coherence. And it kind of reminds me of what the concepts of like, well, there's octaves, but in chemistry, like atoms and there's like different octaves of layers around the nucleus of the atom.
And it just goes smaller and smaller and smaller.
Electron jump. What's that?
And they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. We think like every 10 years, we think we've gotten as small as we can go. And then, nope.
No. I sit there and I think, are we just creating smaller particles so we can find them? And consciousness we're just maybe so focused on it that we're just manifesting them. And then we get to describe something that is discovered.
It might be. I kind of like to think that the infinitely small exists. I don't know how it could, but I think it can. Kind of, there's that, I don't know I can't remember what it's called in math, where you take a number and you cut it in half, and then you cut it in half again, you cut it in half again, and you never get to the smallest. That's kind of what I like to think of when I think of going small. You're just cutting that length in half, and you never quite chop it all off, So,
because you'll never get there. You keep getting smaller and smaller, you'll never get there. Just like getting bigger and bigger. I used to contemplate these things when I was like 3 years old, and
did you study?
I don't know how it
Did you study mathematics in school or anything? Was that an interest?
Yeah, I did. I was, I had a knack for it. I really struggled with algebra because again, and I'm not one who learns language very fast. I have to really effort at it to learn language, but visual spatial things, I'm just, I'm off the charts in terms of, the other compared to, learning other like languages.
Languages. And like the, Misty, I know I could ask you 5,000 questions. I could just talk to you. Really. I know Misty wants to ask something or two or three things.
I'm wondering about more, we talk about the shapes of things and how to draw. Okay. So where are you coming up with the colors?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question because colors have vibration too. They have a frequency. I love that. So when I'm doing this as my own process, or when I'm teaching it and we draw the shapes, like let's say, we just drew this, then I'll ask people to pick up their, color pencils or paints or markers or something to start coloring with. But before that, ask them to just meditate on it, just get really still and just stare at it. And it's kind of like something that I know from the Toltec tradition called the dreamer's stare. It's like a theta brainwave state. When you practice it, you just kind of like drop right into it, where you don't have much mind chatter then, and you can just stare. And then it really helps you to shift more right brain, more intuitive, and listen and just get inspired and get creative from what comes to you. And so I noticed that people are all so different. They may not know why they're picking up a color, or they may just know right away. Blue. I always like blue, and they're always going to do blue. Whatever. Everybody's so different. But it's that opportunity to just see if something comes through. Like when we were just doing that little exercise, that psychic exercise, and Misty was saying, keep seeing copper, like a copper penny. And I like that you described it like a copper penny, because you knew that, you weren't trying to define exactly what it was. You were just giving words to what was coming through to you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can feel that. Yeah, I feel that.
Cool.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. With colors, I feel like, that's where the intuition comes in.
The feeling.
Creative, the feeling. Yes. So many people, they just feel, they sense, they just get a kind of a knowing, and they don't have a color doesn't appear to them, but they might just know, oh, it's yellow. They didn't hear
how I am. I don't usually I'm not visual like you, and Misty's visual too. I'm not. I don't know. Like if I didn't look in this reflecting of my video, I wouldn't know what I was wearing. I forget. I remember faces. I can't remember faces. Like I can't remember Misty's face if I'm not looking at her. So it's just I have like weird visual things. So I think that's for me anyway why I sense so much because my eyes don't work right.
And then
I just don't notice.
It helps you hone in on something else you're really gifted at. And
Right. You're
I like
right.
music.
Yeah.
I like my ears better. I like using my ears. I love looking at stuff, but I mean, I don't seem to notice things that other people notice. Let's put it that way, ever. But
Well, sometimes I think that somebody who has what they call perfect pitch is tuning into those frequencies that would create a coherent pattern in the cymatics. You know,
yeah, I do have perfect pitch.
theory. I can't say that that's for sure, but
I like
that's
that theory.
kind of
It's pretty cool.
makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Because I do get like when guides or when I do mediumship, but I mainly work with guides or when a spirit will come through, they do have a voice fluctuating, like the way I can hear their voice in my head, but I can't really see their faces. I can make out like a mustache or a hairstyle or a clothing, but I can't make out a face, but I can hear their voice, which is really weird.
Wow. Yeah.
But I'm not hearing it with my ears. So
Yeah, that's cool.
And
Yeah, I
I
don't do it with auditory.
you can probably do this too if you're musical. You can probably tell who has perfect pitch when they talk or who is into music by the way they talk. Because they hit the notes when they talk, in the pitch.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like it seems like it's a little bit secondary for me, of what I've noticed about myself. But it was like, since I was a little girl, I just gravitated to the piano. I had 4 years old. Actually, I was hearing music, but not like through the ears.
Me
it was
too.
coming through. Yeah.
Like an orchestra, I would just lie there and in bed and just listen to it. And do you have that too? Like you can just hear like it just plays like you're playing a whole symphony or something sometimes. It doesn't happen a lot, but when I was younger, it did. I would hear it.
Yeah.
And it was like
It
I was
was when
playing, but it's all in my head. Yeah. It's neat.
Yeah. And I've talked to other people, they'll hear it and they know it's from another realm. They're just getting the frequencies from who knows where, but
Yeah.
So with I've got cat hair in my mouth because my cat just I'm sure listeners don't know this. Watchers, my cat just put his tail in my mouth.
Oh, no.
Oh, he walked by and just and I had my mouth open. So, so with the frequencies, how does geometry? I mean, I understand like for me anyway, my understanding of frequencies would be like we hear our ears do this with these frequencies, our eyes do this with these frequencies, and our touch does this, but where does the geometry come into the to those like
It's such a good question. So in this, in the physical reality, I see it as a visual art, as opposed to music being the auditory. So we're picking up on it in the visual range, but then in in a more a spiritual realm, a more psychic realm, my experience has been that it shows me like exactly that, the underlying patterns of nature. Like if I'm in a meditation and then suddenly I just start seeing geometry in my mind's eye, different shapes, and they might be moving or they might be fractaling. Yeah. And so it's just coming to me. It could have a auditory component that I'm not hearing, sometimes it comes with color, but I feel like it's all messages. It's all frequency. And then it's like, okay, to interpret it is a challenge. Sometimes I want to make a story about it. I want to know what it is, whatever. But sometimes it's more like, I'm going to sit with it and see what is it telling me. And sometimes it's pretty obvious. Like if it's a hexagon pattern, for example, that I was seeing in my meditation, and then I go outside and I have bees buzzing around me.
Yeah.
They're talking to me again, and they have talked. Let's talk about psychic. We were talking about the animal realm before. Mm-hmm. I really connect with bees and some other animals too, but they're like, people say that they're like a really high vibration consciousness. I've heard different things. I've heard that.
Yeah. And I mean, they can kill a person. I'm allergic to them. So like if I were to get somebody, that's vicious. I mean, these like they're the size of like half my thumb, they can hurt, they can protect themselves. And some like bees die when they hurt you, and wasps will live.
Exactly.
It's weird. Yeah. But I think what I'm getting from what you're saying about like putting sound frequencies or putting all these different frequencies together, like the geometry of it would be a slice of time of that is kind of what I'm taking from it. Is that kind of what you're?
Well, I'll give you a little deeper understanding. So if in the 2D, I would say, yeah, that's a slice of it, or even a 3-dimensional object.
Okay.
Once it starts to move or rotate or spin, now you're talking about 4 dimensions, because now you've got time involved. You've got rotations per minute or whatever it is, right? And and it might be movement through space. So then there's time from one, place to another, right? So then we start talking about that. What I discovered, and I started to call my work Sacred Geometry Portal, because I was focused on some sacred geometry that just started to, in my mind's eye, just started to unfold multidimensionally in ways that you cannot do. I could not create a model of it because it's impossible.
Like a tesseract.
To do that. Yeah, like a tesseract, exactly. Yeah, if your listeners don't know, you can Google tesseract, and it's really cool to watch.
It's hard to put.
Like, it reminds me of an Escher drawing.
Yeah, well, I read a book by Alex Garland in like 1998. I don't know, but he's like, now he does the zombie movies, 28 Hours, but he was a writer. He wrote The Beach, if you remember that movie. He wrote a book called The Tesseract, and that's how he tried to explain what a tesseract is through a story. They all come it's like 4 different people's stories or something like that, and then they all come together at the end at once. And that's like what his idea was, to explain his writing idea of what a tesseract. That's what I took from it anyway. I thought that was really interesting. So, but yeah, I don't know how to explain that. It's all I know is it's a 4-dimensional object unfolded or something. Or is that right? I'm not sure. I think
it is like that. Well, it's like it's full. It's like its motion doesn't translate to 3D. I mean, really, to me, that's when a tesseract is in what I think of as the 5th dimension or 5D. Although I know in the spiritual world, people talk about it as more like a unified field and a blissful, a place of bliss. And
interesting.
And yeah,
I want to go to the 5th dimension. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, lovers. We'll send you a postcard if they have them. Telepathic postcard. It'll be triangle. So I guess where can listeners find you? Where can they find your podcast and learn more about you? A website or?
Yeah, thank you. I do. It's sacredgeometryportal.com. And on all the major platforms, Sacred Geometry Portal is my podcast. And I also have a Patreon. Patreon is also Sacred Geometry Portal. And I offer workshops through there. So you can subscribe and start out, like for the basic tier, you can have a monthly drawing where you get a instructional video with a PDF. It's just a simple thing that you can just do in your own time and start going. And then if you want more, the next level up is like a group support. Well, what do we call it? Sorry.
Sacred Geometry Support Group.
Words,
save us from the geometry. That's
it's
like
discussion, sharing, community, sharing, connecting. So
I'm going to check
a
that
group
out
that
for
can
myself.
share their experiences, or like we're doing right here.
Yeah, that's really great. I love this.
Yes.
And I'll put listeners and watchers, I'll put all this information in the description of the podcast so you can find her. I'm going to. And I'm going to check that out for sure. And I'd also like to thank you for being a guest. It's been really great. And Misty, thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And lastly, I guess, do you have any last words of advice for people maybe just touching base with this and learning about it for the first time?
Yeah, keep your mind open, your intentions clear. I find that the best results come from a light heart. So even though sacred geometry can seem kind of mental, if you just kind of like follow your heart with it and bring it back to here, this magic unfolds literally. I've had.
I can see it in your eyes. It's like
I can see
magic coming out, and you're remembering it. And it's like,
she gets excited. I can see it.
Yeah, I love that. And listen, I gotta check her out. Oh, do you have more advice? We love it. All the advice you want to give.
I don't know. Actually, I guess I could go on and on, but
please
I really love. Yeah, that's the main advice. I think that's what it keeps coming. Well, that's the other thing it keeps coming back to is come back to center. And sacred geometry, you're always needing to remember where you started, where your center is, because you can get lost in drawing.
Yeah.
And so that's the other advice is this center. Stay here.
Very good advice. Like for everything. Stay centered.
Misty, what was that?
That's good advice for everything in life.
Everything in life.
Yeah.
That is. Thank you so much. And listeners and watchers, we love you. And thank you so much, as always, for watching. And
yes, thank you, listeners.
Again, thank you, Elizabeth. And I hate this part, saying goodbye is hard. I just told her this.
I know. Thank you so much, Lisa and Misty.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, listeners. Bye, Misty. I mean, bye. Bye, listeners.
Till later.
Till later.